Hello listeners, and welcome to Chasm Converses. This week my guest is Russian singer, songwriter, artist and actress NOANNE, joining me from her home in Prague. We have a wonderful conversation from her beginnings, moving from Russia to Prague at the age of 17, excelling in academics, study and travelling to the UK and to the US, to jumping into acting and thus into music, where she's created 2 singles with 2 amazing music videos, which she tells some interesting stories about. She also has a 3rd single on the way called Forgiveness that you can pre-save wherever you listen to your music. So join us and let's get conversing. Chasm Converses. NOANNE, welcome to Chasm Converses.
Hey, thank you so much for having me here.
It's so cool to be able to have a chat with you, and obviously both of us are from right across the world. I spent 10 months in London. Now I'm back in Adelaide, South Australia. Whereabouts are you right now?
I'm based in Prague, and this is kind of the heart of my art and my alma mater for the last 10 years. So I am in the very heart of Europe.
Wow, that's brilliant. Were you born in Prague originally?
No, I was born in Russia, but then when I was 17, I basically decided to, go and explore the world and study in Europe. And Prague was kind of one of the best cities for me, one of the most beautiful cities, as in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
And keep this opinion for myself for 10 years already.
I love that. I just had a conversation with a phone call with my one Russian friend that I have, who lives in Moscow, and we've been trying to schedule a call for a while because it's been so hard to get the calls, obviously with the time difference and stuff. But we spent about an hour chatting today, about maybe 3 or 4 hours ago, and now I have the privilege to talk and meet another Russian person, which is fantastic, right?
Well, yeah, such a coincidence.
Yeah, what a great day! What a great day I'm having. My goodness. That sounds so fascinating. So you moved over. Did you move to Prague when you were 17, or did you just sort of go and start exploring kind of the world and sort of just getting a fix on different parts of the world?
So I moved when I was 17 already, and this was the time when I left my school in Russia, and I was supposed, to get into the high school somewhere. And for some time, I was actually thinking or seriously considering Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London.
Oh
But
wow!
then, I had some discussions and conversations with my parents, and they were like, "Huh, no,
Wow, yeah,
this is
geez,
the best. This is the best profession." And I was like,
yeah,
okay, well, I'll study economics then. And
wow.
I came to Prague.
That's so cool. I mean, that would have changed everything if you'd gone away to London at that age and studied dramatic art. That's great. I love sort of how it's sort of almost come full circle concerning your music, which obviously we'll get to a bit later. But that's so fascinating. I love the fact that that's sort of how you sort of began, especially as a late teenager, moving countries to somewhere completely different
Mhm.
and then getting a handle on it. How did you kind of, I guess, find, moving to a completely different country and meeting people and I mean, I guess obviously you've got, you're very much an artistic person. Did you find your crowd of people pretty fast when you were in Prague?
That's a very interesting question because there was a lot of cultural shock, to be fully honest.
Yeah, right.
People are
Okay.
different, and also, the main goal for me was to learn local language, Czech language, pretty
Right.
fast because it was one of the conditions, to get enrolled into the university. And then
Wow.
with the language, I started to really learn the culture.
Mhm.
I'm really glad though that I moved, in let's say in quite a young age, because in 17, when back home you have only basically your friends, family,
Yeah.
and you didn't really yet, you didn't grow up as a person, as an individual so far. You were
Mm.
just a child, and then I
Yeah.
was just exposed to so
Yeah.
many things in this adult life, and I was like, oh my God.
Thrown literally straight in the deep end by getting thrown literally into another country. That's just, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's that's
yeah,
so
yeah.
crazy because yeah, I mean, when you're obviously that age, you're still kind of figuring things out, especially when you've just left school and you're
Yeah.
kind of out in the big world, and then you have that culture shift of being just thrown into another country. That's yeah, wow, that's you've had to think on your feet pretty quickly being in that situation. Hey.
Yeah, and then there were like, some problems which you've never faced before because you were before, with your parents for your whole life. And now you're like, I need to think about my rent. I need to
Yeah.
think about, place where I live and how to keep it clean. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Wait.
I have to do this? No way. I thought
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
insane. This is what like adulting and being a human being is like. Crazy. Oh man.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so great though. Yeah,
But
that's fascinating. I mean, when you sort of as you're sort of, I guess, like, finding your feet while you were over there, you said you studied economics. How long did you study that for?
So basically, I've studied international economics for 3 years, and actually half a year of those 3 years I spent in London because I went
Oh.
to, via Erasmus program. So I came to London and I
Mhm.
studied in at Kingston University for half a
Oh.
year, international law, and I found a
Wow.
really cool lot of people, and they were like, "Oh, hey, future lawyers." They were really cool, and they also, they kind of accepted me into their team, and then
Yeah.
we even spent some time together in some international competitions. We went together to the United States, to the General Assembly of the United Nations, for example,
Oh my
and then
goodness.
we
Wow.
went to yeah, to the International Tribunal in Hague. So it was really cool. So I have like a pretty rich background in, academic world, and then I was
Yeah.
like, nah, art is cooler.
Yeah, I'm really fascinating to like I love like kind of how we're progressing this because I'm wondering when the artistic shift is gonna kind of come into play. Because at the moment it's like my goodness, like there's academics, there's economics, there's like, working with lawyers and that kind of stuff. Like, my goodness, it's surprising you had any time to even be creative with all that sort of piling up and everything else. I'd love to also ask just as a bit of a tangent, what did you think of London?
Oh my God, this is my dream city, to be fully honest.
Really?
And yeah, yeah. And I visited London first time when I was 16. This was my first time abroad ever. I
Hmm.
came there for, language school to study English.
Yeah.
And, this was since it was my first time abroad, I think it was also Olympic Games, Summer Olympic Games in
Oh,
London.
right. Shit.
And I
Yeah.
was
Damn.
like, oh my God, this is how it looks like abroad.
Yeah. Damn. That would have
So
been crazy at that point
yeah,
in
it
time.
just left such an incredible impression. And since then, I really dreamt to come back there. And that's why when I got this opportunity to study abroad, while being in Prague already, and our
Mm.
university was offering this program, I was like, I need to go to London. I need to find whether London is in the list. And then I found
Yeah.
it, and I need to apply there. My dream city. I don't know. It's just even though it's quite hectic, I know that it's a lot of things happening in London in
Mm.
comparison with Prague as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know, such a dynamics. There's lots of energy, and
Yeah.
I dream to come back there again.
Absolutely. I mean, as we both know, it is absolutely just hectic there. There's people just all over the place. But I mean, even just like there's so many like kind of landmarks and then like architecture, just like
Uh,
such beautiful buildings and that kind of stuff. You can just be walking along any kind of random street, and then there's just like this church from like, the 1600s just like staring you in the face. And you're just like, oh my God, that thing's amazing. You want to go inside and see all the stuff. And yeah, there's so much about it, which is just incredible. I mean, I was there for 10 months and I loved it to death as well. Definitely want to go back there. And also want to go to Prague eventually as well. So that's also another really great thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Prague, yeah, I need to bless Prague with my presence at some point in time. But even so, I love the fact that, you were able to travel around and even going to like you said you went to the United States as well, yeah?
Yes, yes. I've been there for 1 week though only, but it
One
was
week.
also was it was like because it was a part of, of the competition. I got the
Hmm.
scholarship. I came there also, and we spent 3 days visiting, or let's say competing
Hmm.
in General Assembly of the United Nations. It was, like a competition for students. And fun fact though,
Hmm.
when the competition was over and we were still sitting, in the building and stuff, I don't know how we got to this point, but I sang there a song from The Little Mermaid, part of
Oh,
your,
no
yeah.
way.
I was
That's
like,
amazing.
everyone was like, so what else do you do? And I'm like, I can sing.
Oh, and from like the Little Mermaid as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
Oh,
my
I love
goodness.
this song. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's one of my favorite movies as well. Like I watched that when I was so young, but that's an amazing story. My goodness.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, going out of that, I'd love to know where like the musician shift sort of came into this, and like the artistic kind of shift came into your life. So I guess where did things sort of go from there? Did like the music thing sort of come in like as you got a bit older, or did you
Mhm.
find it much more when you were younger and you progressed through, or give me take me through that?
So basically, music, was always for me kind of an additional asset to acting, and
Mm,
I always perceived myself more as an actress, to be fully honest, than a musician.
right. Okay.
Um, when I came to Prague, I realized, how many castings, how many opportunities for acting there is
Mm,
there. But over the years, when you're knocking all those doors, and obviously this is the same in music, though we're still knocking all those doors. Still, most of those doors are closed, for
yeah.
a while, and then maybe they will be opened. But one important thing which I realized in acting after all those years is that in acting, you always pretend to be somebody else, and
Mm,
you always try to fit into the image of this character whom a director or a casting director imagined to be, and then you're receiving those refuses, and you don't really know why, because again, also you're pretending to be somebody else, and
mm,
then you also don't have any control over that as well. In
yeah.
comparison with music, where you can be yourself, you
Mm,
don't need to be sorry for not fitting into someone's expectations, because this is who you are. And this came to me kind of like, 10 years after I was, knocking all those doors in acting
yeah.
and
Right.
stuff. And actually, my boyfriend, he was just like, at one point, he was like, Anna, why you're doing this stuff? You're writing your songs. Like you can try, this other door.
Mm,
And I honestly I gave it a go, because I knew that this is also where, my heart belongs to.
mm,
But again, I was never considering really myself as a singer, or let's say I was never dreaming of gathering arenas and,
mm.
basically being the second, I don't know, Christina Aguilera. I
Yeah.
was just like, I'm a storyteller. But yes, I can tell also stories with my music, and I just gave it a go, and oh boy,
Did you ever give it a go?
whole journey.
Even it took me, it blew me away as well, honestly. Like that, but yeah, even all that, all like the entire thing that you just said, like honestly, I couldn't put it into better words. I mean, I've done acting, that sort of stuff as well, like a few times here and there, and that's exactly right. You know, you're embodying the image of something that somebody else has seen for yourself, and especially when it comes to images and looks, so many, open doors and so many more closed doors, obviously. But sometimes the director or whatever is looking for a certain look of a person to be their character. And like, sometimes you're just not the fit for that. But that's just one of those things that someday you'll get something where it's like, yeah, you are the fit for that. You're the exact person that I want to have in this role. And that's sometimes where the big break comes through. But it's also one of those really cool things where, there are always, opportunities to put your name forward and to grow. And even with like music as well, it's so great that, sometimes we try and seek opportunities, but sometimes we just have to make our own opportunities by creating our own music, and
Mhm.
just putting them out and creating our own sort of idea of what we want to portray in it to other people. And in that sense, that's when people can kind of see it and they get back to us. And then it connects with them, connects with us, and it builds it up from there. And so, like, it's so cool that you've had a really cool sort of like, transition from acting into music and that kind of thing. And I completely like, especially after, doing some research and listening to your singles and watching your videos, I'm like, yeah, this girl is definitely an actor of some sort, because that like in front of like, especially with the videos as well, like, just so much camera confidence just like oozes from yourself when you're portraying the person that you're trying to portray in your music videos. More so in Goodwill. I thought Goodwill was amazing. As of course was White Glove as well. How I would love to know, like, how long did you sort of do you still do acting now, or is it something where you're sort of more so music focused at the moment?
So I'm trying not really to leave acting completely aside, because
Mm,
I'm still a part of a theater group here in Prague, and we're actually performing and doing some shows regularly.
awesome.
But I'm kind of like, I'm really thankful to acting in a way that it really I don't know. It's just it taught me not to expect anything.
Mm,
And if you're trying, if you're really, let's say again, knocking all those doors, it's like I accepted the fact that it's okay when no one is answering. That's
mm,
that's totally fine. It's totally fine that someone doesn't like you. It's totally fine that they can ignore you. And
mm,
then when actually something is happening, when something is answering someone, when one of the doors is opening, it just gives you so much more joy than
mm.
if you were just like, huh, well, I'm really cool, so let's say like everyone comes back to me and say how great I am, etc., etc. So like acting really worked out my ego
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, 100%.
So I'm really glad for that. And I'm still, I'm visiting some castings sometimes, but I feel way more confident coming there because I was like before it
Mm,
was really a matter of my realization, self-realization,
mm,
and it was a matter of me even loving myself because I needed
mm.
someone to accept me. And
Yeah,
here,
right.
well, I accepted myself. I found my way to, to express myself, and I don't really need someone else to tell me that I'm cool. If I'm
Yes.
fitting into this role, then that's great. If not, then well, you're lost.
Yeah, I love that. No, I'm all for like the I'm all for this kind of talk. This is like the best kind of talk that you could possibly have with anybody is about obviously, building up yourself, building up your own character, your own image and your own like, worth of self-love. That's a massive thing that gets in the way of so many people is just the fact that they don't feel worthy to go for certain things or
Yeah.
the nervousness and that kind of stuff, especially when it comes to like, performing on stage or, doing or having like, castings and going and having to audition to one or two people just in a big empty room that you've never met before. It sometimes can be a really kind of daunting thing. But it's
Yeah.
it's so cool to kind of like, when you do kind of delve into yourself and you do try and figure out what you kind of want and try and get yourself on a good plane so you can go into those things in the best version of yourself so that you can be put across those people in that kind of way. But it's cool. Like I feel like we're all sort of discovering ourselves a little bit more every single day. I mean, there are people out there who have, they know exactly who they are, they know exactly what they want, and they're doing it and they're going for it. And for some people it takes more time. For me, it takes more time. But for
Yeah.
some people, it takes more time to like, figure that out. And then there are some people who just don't ever touch the surface of even doing that. They just, decide to do something that they don't really enjoy or whatever it is. They get on with the day-to-day of life and that's kind of their choice. That's what they want to do. But I think, in the self-discovery of things, when it comes into music and comes into acting and stuff, there's so many opportunities to be able to find that within yourself and, portray that to other people. And I think that's fantastic that you've been able to do that yourself and also sort of throw that into your musical element as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm really glad that, we have this kind of opportunities when we can express ourselves in music and, even add some, well, visual layers to that.
Mm,
That's why I'm so I was just incredibly happy when we shot Goodwill, and
mm.
I was just like, oh my God, this is my, let's say, mini kind of short film,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's
And
exactly. I would literally describe it as that. It looked like a short movie, like a short film or a short movie,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
was just like, my goodness, how long did you take? Like, how long did you spend on doing that video? Because there's so many shots from so many different scenes and locations and that kind of thing. Was this like a year-long project or like what was the time frame behind it? I guess.
Oh my God, we actually the time frame, I think in total it was more than a year we
Oh
were
my
doing this
God!
video.
Wow,
Yeah. So
wow.
basically yeah, yeah, this
That's
is
so
like
impressive. It
we
really is.
actually we even had, an internal joke with basically with my music producer that we were just like the video was shot, let's say, half a year ago or already a year ago,
Mm.
and he was constantly asking me, whether it's ready, whether it's ready. At some point, he just stopped asking. He was like, "It's not ready, right?" And I was like, "It's not." No,
Damn.
but we had like, let's say, 3 or 4 months pre-production. So the
Wow.
director and the producer of the music video, they were really discussing, the vision behind that, what I really, portrayed myself in my mind, and then how can they transform it into sort of a music video format. Because my initial idea was to make this video, let's say, black and white fully. And they were
Right.
like, Anna, you're an artist, but we are clip makers, and
Yeah.
we tell you we need to do, like
Yeah.
colorful story there as well.
Yeah,
So,
no, sure, absolutely.
yeah.
I'd be
And
so
then
weird to see that in black
basically
and white.
we kind of, it was 50 hours of shooting. We had 3 days, and then 7 or 8 months of post-production.
My
So
goodness.
it's a long journey. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible, especially for like a film clip that's, or obviously like a song track that's like, 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes long. Like, my goodness, that's so much work. And it's just, but yeah, again, I mean, as I'm going to say to all my listeners, I'll obviously push this video out so everyone can watch this thing because it's amazing. But like, yeah, as I said, it looks like a short movie, a short film, and there's so many like just amazing elements to it. And yeah, like, well done, honestly. Congratulations to you, especially in the fact that you were willing to. So this is always a big thing for me because when someone's got like obviously music coming out and then they want to do a video as well, it's so hard to coincide the two. So like your video, I expect like what about a year and a half before you put that out. Was the song like done before the video was even done? So the song's been on the shelf for like 2 years basically before
Yes,
that's come out as
yes,
well.
yes.
And then you put them both out at the same time.
Yes, yes. So basically, the song was ready already, let's say in March 2022, and then we shot the video in October 2022,
Mm,
and then in October 2023 it was out.
wow.
So it was like really, and again, like this is all about acting and patience. I mean that
Yeah.
again, acting taught me not to expect anything, to be really patient and stuff, and that's how I could wait for a year, a year and a half before it was released. Because
Yeah.
obviously, when I heard the song, when it was ready, I was like, oh my God, this is so great. We need to
Yeah.
release it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then,
It's like every musician wants to do.
yeah, 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 exactly. And then people around me, they were like, okay, you need to calm down. You probably need to think about the music video, etc., etc. And then we
Mm,
shot the music video. I saw the first drafts, and it was already great, but it wasn't really like 100% what
mm,
I imagined it to be. And
yeah.
also because of the, again, acting background, I can see some of the shots, let's say, more powerful from the
Mm,
acting, let's say, perspective. And
yeah.
why it was 8 months of post-production. I'm really thankful again to the whole, like, music video team and the director. He never cut me off. He never said, let's say, well, you know, I'm the director. I
Mm,
know better. There are no better shots. This is, the final
yeah.
result. I'm really glad that he was in. Even sometimes when I was listening to myself, I was like, am I asking for something impossible? Let's say
Mm,
shots in one. And he was like, Anna, I'll try. I don't know, but
yeah.
I'll just try. And yeah, but it was really 1 year and a half before, let's say, before we actually released the song.
Wow, it's so wonderful to hear that you just have like a really great like team around you that assists you and helps you with, the mental parts of like, do I put the song out? Do I wait for a bit and whatever? And they actually help you with the plan to structure it and to, put it out in the best possible way, in the best possible fashion. Because yeah, that's like probably one of the biggest, I guess, detriments to the younger musicians, even myself included, where like, you make something and you're just like so excited about that you want to put it out straight away. And so you kind of do, or like, you put it out. I know people who put things out literally the day it gets finished, like recording, which is insane in my opinion. But I mean, sometimes they get views, sometimes they don't get listens. But even like, to hold on to it for so long, like that's really admirable. Because as I said, there's many people who would just be like so excited to put it out straight away. But to hold on to it for that long, especially to get everything around it ready before it came out, is just it's wonderful. And I can completely see that, the song itself is doing incredibly like great. Like the video has a fuck ton of views on YouTube and obviously on Spotify. It's got a whole bunch of listens. And then, you put out your newest track, White Glove, as well. And that's also got like, a whole bunch of views on the video, a whole bunch of views on the Spotify. Did that song also take 2 years to put out?
Oh, no, no, no. Actually, this time we actually like we really took it really easy on the music video, and it was,
Mm.
just me in the studio fooling around.
Yeah, more
I
simplistic. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, okay, let's try this another approach. And I really enjoyed it as well, even though we made another treatment with with the former director, with the guy who did Goodwill as well.
Yeah.
And it was again, 100 pages basically treatment for the
Wow.
music video. And my dream to shoot with him, let's say like 5 more or 6 more videos like that.
Wow.
But at this point, coming from the academic and business background,
Mm.
it's not really cost effective.
Yeah.
So,
That's the hardest thing, right?
so
That's the hardest thing.
yeah, yeah. So it's not really my journey, right now, at least. But yeah, for the White Glove, even the song is kind of like it has a different vibe, right? Even
Mm.
though I'm kind of a person who loves drama, and this
Yeah.
is maybe kind of you know, someone is asking me, what is actually your music genre? And I
Mm.
want to say, this is like drama, epic, whatever. And then
Yeah.
people, oh, it's alt pop, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well,
Sort of like distinct, just because
if you
like
say so.
yeah, it dissipates a
Yeah,
little bit. It's like, dramatic drama, like, sounds so much better than like alt pop. But like, yeah,
yeah,
we should just
yeah,
like
yeah.
create a new, just create a brand new genre of music and
No.
just go with that. That'd be the best way, I think.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, essentially I love to go, darker kind of like in my lyrics and in
Mm,
music as well. And we really wanted to make this kind of crazy fool character, let's say, in the
mm.
video, even for the White Glove. So I was a little bit crazy
Mhm.
in a dramatic way, I
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is kind of I want it to be my kind of signature, like sad drama. But then I also remember about Lana Del Rey. We don't
Mm.
really want to copy her fully. So
No.
yeah,
No. I mean, it's never about like, copying artists. You just kind of
yeah,
borrow a little
yeah,
bit from here and there, and you just sort of sprinkle it on the thing that you're already doing. And sometimes that's something that can really kind of appeal to people in that sort of way. But yeah, no, I mean, as I said, it's a great song, and as I said, the video is so much more simplistic, but it still shows you, dancing around and just, acting in your best possible manner. And it's just, yeah, it's just so nice to watch and so nice to listen to. And even when it comes to like yourself as a singer, you have such a great like range, and you can do so much with your voice, and just it's quite fascinating. Where did you learn to kind of sing like that? Like, where did you kind of begin to kind of figure out what to do with your voice and stuff?
Actually, I was like back in Russia, I think I
Mm,
was having actually 1 or 2 years of academic vocals.
right.
So
Okay.
there, when I was younger, I was just like really going into this, classic kind of classical music way. And
Right.
then I think I was kicked out of the music school, actually.
Oh wow,
I
really?
don't
Damn.
yeah. I think I was having some problems, with actually being organized and, coming to school at the time when I need to be there.
Oh
So I
right.
think I was
Okay.
kicked out. And then I still, I think I was having some private lessons, but not for a long time, and joining some competitions, but I was never, winning any of those
Hmm.
competitions. That's why I actually had for a long time, kind of like an inner block in myself that
Yeah.
singing really, an additional asset, but not the main one. And I still internally I'm having some struggles still with that. I'm
Really.
trying to get over this kind of like not winning something in comparison with acting when I
Hmm.
knew that when I'm coming on stage, I have the control. I know my, my strongest parts. I know my, let's say, not the strongest part of myself, and I 100% know what's going to happen now. But
Yeah.
in music, I'm like, I cannot control anything. At least that was my initial thought. You have some engineers, sound engineers, and
Hmm.
you have some sound in general, whether you're performing on the street or whether you're performing in a concert hall. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm like 50% of the success here.
Yeah. It is a barrier, honestly. It is such a barrier to get past because your voice can sound so different on any given day in any different like location or wherever you are, like especially with like, when you record things, you're double layering your voice
Mhm.
most of the time, and then like, you're just fine tuning it, making sure it's all in tune, the sound techs are doing their thing, that's mixed and mastered. And then like, you're trying to recapture that in a live sense. And then like it's very difficult to be able to do that when there's so much technological stuff kind of involved in them. But like, yeah, it's a big block to kind of get past. And it's I think it's really healthy that like, you've sort of recognized that yourself and you're trying to get yourself past like that block and still be like, yeah, like I can, because I mean, in my personal opinion, I mean, obviously the majority of stuff that I've heard is recorded stuff, but even like, your little clips on YouTube and that sort of thing of you, just making like peeling a carrot and just singing and whatever. I'm just like, damn, like you've still got you've still got like real good, like, pipes and everything else on you. So it's like this is she's almost sounds like the same as she does on the recording. That's incredible. I'd love to actually, because I did watch one of your videos recently, and it was about your vocal warm-ups. And you do
Mhm.
like a whole bunch of stuff with your vocal warm-ups. Can you take me through that? And we'll take everybody
Oh.
through it.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I just realized, to be fully honest, when we started this whole recording process and working on the songs, and to my huge surprise, I was like, okay, we're singing a song 2 hours straight in the studio, and after 40 minutes in the beginning, I was just like, I'm so tired. I
Yeah.
can't sing anymore, really. And if you're going to the concert, you're seeing live shows for at least 1 hour and a half, and I was like, so
Mm.
how am I supposed to pull this off.
Yeah,
If after 40 minutes, I'm tired. And
I scream sing, so I'm exactly the same. Like, there's,
yeah,
there's no break
so
when you're on stage. You just gotta keep going and hope the voice holds.
yeah, and I kind of just I started to be more disciplined about myself, and I was like, okay, so I don't really want to be that stressed anymore when I'm performing. So I guess I need to be, stressed every single day when I'm doing the warm-ups. And so yeah, I'm trying to do some kind of really extreme, well, extreme in my kind of, in my opinion, because I've never did this before.
Yeah.
But singing and running, singing and jumping. This sounds horrible. I was just
Yeah.
like,
Exerting
when
so much air. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes I'm renting a studio where I'm just, I'm completely alone and I can sing with the mic and with the whole playback and stuff. And I'm running and singing and I'm like, oh my God, this sounds like a torture to me. It's supposed to be something really pleasant. But then I just like day to day, day after day, or week after week, you see the
Mm.
difference, even though it still sometimes sounds horrible, but you're like, well, it sounds less horrible than before. And when, singing in a calm position and obviously even peeling a carrot, it's like you're still kind of calm. And I can hear the difference that, I sound better. And people who know me for a long time and knew me before I even, discovered myself as a musician,
Mm.
they were like, your singing got really, way better than
Yeah.
before. So I'm really glad, exploring those exercises, torturing myself at home, and
Yeah.
then I can really enjoy myself when I'm actually performing.
That's incredible. I'd love to finish off just by asking you about your own kind of musical influences and the people that sort of inspire you to do what you do every single day, if whether you do music every single day or not. But who inspires you to create the things that you create?
I think my first, let's say, and the biggest inspiration or influence was Pink Floyd, actually, and
Oh
their
wow.
their album Dark Side of the Moon.
Wonderful.
This is when I just realized that, or this was the moment when I understood that the music should involve emotions and it should be an experience rather than just a background in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
I think I lived through, let's say, through this album, I lived
Mm.
like hundreds of lives, and it was just I came from 100% happiness to 100% miserable
Yeah.
stuff, and back to the happiness again. So Pink Floyd was my biggest influence, actually. And then I started to explore, let's say, Michael Kiwanuka. I think he's the London-based artist and musician as well.
Mhm.
And then Kovacs from the Netherlands. I think she's like quite dark and moody
Wonderful.
as well. Um, Prince, like
Yeah.
incredible genius. David Bowie. I like those are the people, you could see that those are aliens. I mean,
Yeah, right.
um, like where does this music come from?
Yeah, it's
But
they
it's
influence, like, especially
incredible.
those, well, heaps of the names you're listing off, like they influence like a generation of people just to do what they do today, which is just it's awesome. It's great that they all, like, have a place really close in your heart, and for you to do your songs and music as well.
Yeah. And even, like I think I had really good friends who were fans of Eminem for a long time. And
Oh yeah.
when I was younger, I was not really accepting this, other tastes in music. And I was like, oh my God, this is a different kind of music than I like. But
Mm,
then I was like, okay, but why this particular person, Eminem,
yeah.
became also an icon for hundreds of millions of people. And then I listened actually to his lyrics very carefully, and I was
Yeah.
like, I understand, even though I wouldn't
Yeah.
listen to music particularly like every single day, but
Mm.
I really start to be more open basically to more genres and to listen why actually this kind of music may be really close to people and people can gravitate to it. So I think this is one of the takeaways of my recent years. Like, be more open, try to understand what people feel, what do they like, and maybe I can find some common ground between what I like and what others people like as well.
Incredible. That is the perfect way to round off an awesome podcast episode. Honestly, that was fantastic. Yes, thank you so much for joining me, Noanne. It's been so fantastic to meet you, and obviously to talk to you about all your music. Please, my listeners, listen to White Glove and Goodwill and watch the videos, because they are going to take you on a ride that you never thought you needed. And I'm very much looking forward to I'm looking forward to whatever else you have in the bank of songs over the last 2 or 3 years or whatnot, that are to come from you, Noanne. So thank you so much for joining me, and I do wish you all the best in the rest of your journey.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was really a wonderful journey for me to talk to you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning into the episode this week. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Noanne and myself. Go check out her music and her videos. Chuck a follow on the socials and keep up to date with everything that she's got going on, and pre-save her newest single, Forgiveness. There are links in the description of this episode where you can find it all. As for myself, follow me on Instagram or YouTube at This Is Chasm. And please leave a rating and or review for the show wherever you listen to your podcasts. And I'll see you next week for a new episode with a new guest here on Chasm Converses.